One more time, 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 one more time. Go!
Hey, what's up there, YouTube? DiGiTiLsOuL here. How y'all doing today, right? I'm gonna do something. I guess I should call this series "Are You Too Young?" But you know, I probably have enough of that going on. But today I want to talk about: are you too young to leave home? Now, a lot of people are eager to leave their houses. Maybe it's because they don't get along with their parents, or maybe they're just in such a rush to be out there and live life for themselves, to not follow any rules. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's not a problem with people going away to college, as long as you find a good college and you have good housing, and you're going to college for the right reasons. Yeah, everyone wants to party, everyone wants to have a good time, but that's your shot at education that you're paying for, so you might not want to mess that one up. But then you have other people who just want to get out of their house because they can't handle living with their parents anymore, living under some kind of rules or guidelines. Myself, I left home when I was 19. I had this little attic apartment. It was only $225 a month, plus gas and electric. So I wound up paying like $3 something a month for my own place at 19. That was fantastic. I had a kitchen, a living room, a bathroom, and a bedroom that they built up into an attic, and the roof slanted over top of my bathtub, so I didn't have a standing shower. I had to sit and have one of them little shower massage chumpies and wash myself off that way. Also, here's my toilet. The ceiling went up over top of me, so I had to like lean back, and I'm a guy. Guys don't sit while they're, you know, relieving their bladder. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I had to lean back when I was standing. Yeah, but you know, I mean, you find better places, you live in better places as you grow older. But a lot of people, when you leave home when you're young, you don't realize the small things. And I'm not talking like food and stuff like that, but a lot of times when you leave your home and you do get your own place, a lot of times you're paying for laundry. A lot of people don't think about that, man. You got to normally, if you're lucky, it's in the building you're living in. But if not, sometimes you got to walk down the laundromat. If it isn't a building you're living in, sometimes you got to go around the back, or you got to go outside in the winter, and that sucks. But you got to pay to use their machines. Okay? Also, you don't think of small things like toilet paper. Where does that come from? Toothpaste. You know? Basic cleaning products, stuff that you're just used to having in your house all the time. You go over, open the cupboard because it's there, because moms and dads always make sure that that sort of thing is there for you. And it's like you don't think about the little things before you leave home. Do you have transportation? Do you have a car? Do you live on a bus line? You know what I'm saying? Like me and my wife, we're getting ready to move to a new home here shortly. We're going to sell our house and we're going to move somewhere else. I'm going to stay in the same state, but I want to move into a better school district. So if you're a young couple, or if you're a young person looking to buy a house, and someday you plan on having children, make sure you check into the school district that's in that area. Because if you do have a child, you want to raise them up in a good school district. I'm not happy with the school district here for my boy, and you've all seen my boy. And I want him to be able to go to a good school, so we're moving somewhere else. But you know, it's just little things like that that you need to think about. What are the taxes that you're going to have to pay? You know, there's just so much involved once you're out on your own. If my mom would have let me come back, I probably would have went home. Not saying that she wouldn't let me, but once you leave, you're gone. You're out the door, and you got to live for yourself. And there's just so many responsibilities that so many people don't stop and think about. All they think about is their freedom. You know what I'm saying? So it's more than that. There's so much more than that. And I'm going to cover some other things. So now, how you guys ain't going to tell me I got some flyaways up here, man? Gotta tuck in bed. You know, now, as your hair gets longer, and I'm Irish, and my hair is like a little kinky and nappy. I don't know why. But when your hair gets a little longer, you know, and you want to toss your head on like you like to do, sometimes you get these flyaways kicking out up on the ears, man. And I gotta tuck them. You guys should have told me they were up here, man. I don't know what this got to do with my subject, but flyaways ain't no fun. You know what I'm saying? What I'd ask you to do is to make a list. Weigh all the good and the bad. This is something good that you can do with any kind of, you know, thing that you're going to have going on in your life. Is to make a list about the pros and the cons, the goods and the bads. What's so bad about living at home? Unless you're not getting a meal, unless you don't have a roof over your head and a warm bed to sleep in, then I would understand. But as long as you got a meal, the roof, the bed, how could you complain? It's free. You know what I'm saying? Your parents are looking out for you, man. Don't be in such a rush to let that go. Because anyone will tell you, man, it's a lot harder out there in the real world unless you're lucky and you got some kind of fantastic job right out of high school or right out of college that you can afford the finer things in life. But until then, man, let your parents take care of you. Don't be in such a rush to grow up. Because once it happens, it's work, 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 work. And unless you love your job, it's no fun. You look forward to your days off, man. And then you come home to your little spot that you're trying to have for yourself just because you want to have a girl over or a guy over or have a party or do your thing. There's more to life than just that. So I'm asking you, don't be in such a rush to leave home because there's a lot of expenses out there. You want a telephone and you still want your cell phone or your PDA? You want them new video game systems? You know what I'm saying? You want those new clothes, this, new that. There's so many different expenses that you need to look at. You got your gas, you got your electric, if you're lucky they're included. Television, you want cable, right? You want to be able to watch some HBO or some other things like that. And then your phone. And then you got your internet and your computer. There's so many different things to look at that tack up on top of rent, gas, electric, water, sewage. You know what I'm saying? There's so much involved. So if you are thinking of leaving home, and it's not just to go to school, you just want to get your own place to free yourself from rules, stop and think about it, seriously. Because home isn't that bad. Unless your parents are abusive, unless they're not feeding you, unless they're torturing you, then I would understand. But other than that, if you don't have any problems other than having to be home by 10 o'clock, it's not that bad staying at home until you're ready to go out there. If you have friends that are living in apartments, fine. But if you've never lived with this friend and you want to get a place with a friend, understand that how you live at home and how they live at home are different. You never truly know someone until you live with them for a while. Trust me, I know firsthand. Yeah, it makes rent cheaper, but if any of you saw what happened with Bohem, remember when his friend that lived with him wasn't paying the rent? Do you see what that did to him? He has to pick up the slack for that. Your landlord's not going to say, oh, well, just because he didn't pay the rent, that part of the rent doesn't get paid. That's not how it happens. You're living there, you're responsible. If you want to maintain that roof, that domain that you're living in, you're responsible. So please, this is Digital Soul, asking you guys to make sure that you're absolutely ready before you go and leave home to live on your own. Weigh it all out. Write it down. Make sure it's what you want. Make sure it's the right reasons. Some people don't have a choice, and I understand that. I'm not pointing fingers saying, you shouldn't leave home. Deal with what you got going on. I'd never do that to anybody. If it's a bad situation, I understand. You're trying to better yourself, and I respect you for that, alright? But if you're just trying to get out because you got to be home a little early, stay there until you're ready, alright? This is Digital Soul. I hope someone listened. I hope you understand. And I'll be watching you guys, alright? And I'll see you when I see you. Peace.
One more time, one more time, one more time.